Yo, what's up guys? It's Cubelicious09. I'm back. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys watching this will have no idea what Cubelicious09 is. So for me to explain this to you, I'm gonna have to take you back in time, about a decade ago. So this all kind of started back in year 7 when I first started high school. I knew how to solve a Rubik's Cube and I was pretty proud of that, so I bought a Rubik's Cube to school to just try to impress all my friends with it. And not long after, a lot of my friends got hooked, so they started to buy cubes of their own and try to learn how to solve it for themselves. For the next 2 years, this is what took up a lot of me and my friends' free time. We would constantly be competing against each other in lunchtime to see who could solve it faster. And it was around this time that I decided to change my name on YouTube to Cubelicious09 and started uploading a bunch of random cubing videos, hence the amazing intro you guys saw. Also, I should probably apologize to anyone who's wearing headphones for that. But eventually, as we got better at cubing, we started to go to these formal competitions where we'd compete in other events such as 2x2, 4x4, one-handed, even blindfolded. Unfortunately, when year 9 came along, I decided to transfer schools and in the process losing touch with a lot of my old friends and replacing hobbies like cubing with other things like, well, I want to say studying, but let's be honest, I wasn't really studying either. So it came as a real surprise to me when about a month ago I received a text from one of my old mates, Brian, who you've probably seen on the channel before, asking whether we wanted to go to a Rubik's Cube competition, you know, just for old time's sake. Of course, I'm not one to back down from a challenge, so I said I'd be down, and that was that. So yeah, with the competition set to be early September, we had roughly a month to prepare for it, so here's me and Brian explaining what this event is all about. So the competition we'd be going to would have 3 main events. The first event, 3x3, both of us would be competing in, and 3x3 starting off with about 140 competitors. The top 40 competitors who had the fastest average of 5, so you get 5 solves, they would move on to round 2. Then the top 20 would move on to the finals, and then it's the top 3, they get the podium spots in the finals. The next event, blind, each competitor gets 3 solves to try to complete at least 1 solve. And then out of the first round, the top 75% of competitors would move on to round 2. And then again, the top 75% of competitors in round 2 would move on to the finals. And same thing, top 3 get the podium spot.
And the final event being 4x4, it's kind of similar to 3x3 in that there's an average of 5. The top 24 competitors of the first round go to the second round, and the top 12 competitors of the second round go to the final round. There's also an additional rule in that if you don't get a single solve faster than a minute and 15 seconds, you are actually disqualified from this event.
But yeah, I think both of our goals going into this competition were pretty much the same. We just really wanted to beat some of our old times from way back when we used to compete when we were younger. And for most of these events, you have 2 records that go in your profile. You have your single best time and then also your average of 5. And for me, my 3x3 single personal best was 16.77 seconds, and my average of 5 best was 18.99 seconds. So those are the times I had to beat.
And for me back then, my best single was 9.73 somehow, and my average was 15.7 something.
As for my best blindfolded time, this was the time I got in 2015, and that time was 3 minutes and 2 seconds.
And for 4x4, my best single was 58.22, and my best average was a minute and 8 seconds.
But yeah, at the very start of the month, both of us were super rusty, so we knew that if we wanted to get anywhere close to these times, we would have to put in a lot of training. And that's exactly what we did. At the start of the month, the first thing I realized was that my old cube wasn't gonna cut it. It'd just been sitting there on my shelf for 8 years collecting dust. I needed an upgrade. Now that I had my second cube, the second thing I realized was that even though I'd signed up to do blindfold, I had no idea how to solve a cube blindfolded, so I would have to relearn it. Luckily, there's this amazing YouTuber who has this brilliant tutorial on just that. Even though I was now able to solve the cube blindfolded after going through these tutorials, I was still super slow. I needed some sort of game plan if I wanted to get anywhere close to beating my old record of 3 minutes. But before I can explain what I came up with, I should first explain how blind solving works. So with blind solving, what we do is we assign a letter of the alphabet to each. Now that I had everything I needed, the next 3 weeks was just an endless cycle of practicing 3x3, practicing blindfold, and learning my flashcards with whatever free time I could get. As for Brian, he was pretty much doing the exact same thing, but instead of blindfold, he was practicing 4x4. I think having each other is what helped keep us motivated to continue practicing and getting better throughout the month. Even the night before the event, Brian had this gig at a cafe that I went to, and in between his breaks, we would still be there just cubing. And as the month came to an end. Both of us saw real improvements in our speed. Somehow we'd both even gone faster than we were 8 years ago. Although we were both confident that we'd be able to beat our old records, it would all come down to how well we would perform on the day. Morning guys. So, today's Cube Day. I'll be riding with Brian over to the event and just texted me he'll be here in like 3 minutes. But yeah, got myself ready this morning. Quite an early morning, didn't get too much sleep. But yeah, that's why we have the pre-workout. Hopefully that keeps us going. And yeah, I'll see you when Brian gets here. Brian, what's up? What's up? Thanks. Yeah. So yeah, it's 8:44. We're driving to the event right now. Registration finishes 9:20, I think.
Yeah, we're on a bit of a time crunch.
Yeah.
But we should be fine.
Wasn't it a 40-minute drive there?
Bruh. Yeah, something like that.
So I think we're gonna have to speed to get there. Also, do you think the comp effect is gonna have an effect like?
Yeah, I don't know.
Where you get super nervous and then
we just, yeah.
Yeah, comp nerves are real.
Or the comp reverse effect, where we go faster somehow.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. Yeah, the events for today kind of lined up really well because like 4x4 is one of my favorites. So.
Yeah, and blind's probably my favorite. Yeah. I don't have a blindfold though.
Or
I couldn't find one.
you just have to borrow some.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe hopefully they have like a COVID mask.
So one thing we were thinking about was like, we'll come into this comp and we're probably just trash. There'll be like an 8-year-old kid who's doing his times tables at the table and he just crushes us.
He's doing his year 5 homework, yeah. But then he just gets off cubes and then goes back to doing open. Yeah. Oh no. We'll see.
I think probably.
No. Okay, so Brian. So,
we made it.
We did. Hey, good thanks. No.
So this is some kind of tutorial. I have no idea what it is, so let's find out together.
I'm a newcomer.
Oh, nice.
Group 1 will go first.
Can use this for
You just go in front, you never go behind.
Let's check
Let me
it
see your
out.
card, Brian. And once we had gotten settled in, it was time for the first round of 3x3, and Brian was up first.
Okay. Not fantastic, but it's alright.
And then it was my turn, but somehow I managed to lose all my footage except for this video, which probably is a good thing because my times were horrendous by my standard in this first round. I got a 19-something average of 5. And yeah, I think I was just really nervous during this first round. Also, having Felix as my judge didn't really help with the nerves. And if you guys don't know who that is, he'll make a reappearance later on in the video, so don't worry.
So you guys had your first round of 3x3. Can you, Brian, can you kind of discuss, your feelings, thoughts?
Yeah, overall, not a terrible performance, but I think just there was a bit of a learning curve. Obviously it's like our first competition back in like 8 years. So we were like, the both of us, a few seconds slower on both of our sides, but I think everyone else is feeling that too.
These stack mats, that's why we're practicing right now.
Ooh.
But yeah, I was not used to it.
I love how we sound. We're like, actually the stack mats, like that's the reason why we're not getting our optimal speed on them.
That's true.
It's actually the seat height. Like we can't
It's
really.
true. It's true. These seats are so low. Like I don't want to keep like this. I want to be like alphaing it.
I think we're both optimistic. We're gonna like our results will be better in the second round.
The next event was blindfold, and as I mentioned earlier on in the video, I didn't have a blindfold, so I had to run over to a nearby chemist's warehouse to pick up a packet of COVID masks, and I sprinted back, made it just in time for the event. And yeah, ended up just using those masks as my blindfold. And remember, with blindfold, it's not like 3x3. They don't really care about your average as long as you can complete one solve, which unfortunately I wasn't able to do in this first attempt. And then came my second attempt, and not only was I able to complete the solve, but I beat my personal record. And I didn't just beat it, I smashed it by almost a minute. But yeah, it was such a great feeling, and well, third attempt I scuffed, but didn't matter at that point. And then it was lunchtime. But before we could head out for break, we ran into Felix Zendegs. For those of you who don't know who Felix is basically the Michael Jordan of cubing. He's held over 100 world records, is a former world champion, and even has a Netflix documentary about him. So, it was a real surprise to Brian and me when Felix agreed to do a challenge with us for our video. But while Felix warms his hands up, let me quickly explain the challenge. Obviously, Felix is a little bit faster than Brian and I, so we needed some sort of handicap. What we ended up coming up with was that Felix would solve a 4x4 while Brian and I would factory solve two 3x3s. What's a factory solve? A factory solve works by breaking the cube up into 5 steps, and in between each step, Brian and I would have to swap cubes. For the first step, both of us would have to solve the cross, then swap. Then we'd have to solve half of the second layer, and then we'd swap again. Then the second half of the second layer, swap, then the top face, and then the rest of the cube. Even though 4x4 is a much harder puzzle than 3x3, between all of these swaps and the fact that we're up against Felix Zendegs, I think it should be a pretty fair fight.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, we lost. Oh, two, right? Oh my god. Yeah, that's not first.
3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, tight one. 3, 2, 1, go.
Me and Brian are better than Felix.
Yeah.
Alright, anyway. Thanks for
This is post having your competition with Felix. Your guys' stack competition plus Brian's new bromance.
I sort of feel bad that at the end I said we're better than Felix. I hope you didn't take that personally. Because, anyone who knows Felix knows he's definitely better than us. And it was just, I was in the moment and, Then after the break, it was time for Brian's first round of 4x4 and the second round of 3x3.
Wait, what am I doing? Wait, I want to stop. No, wait, start over. That was unlucky. Wait, we're starting over.
Ooh, Sonny. Gosh, they finished strong both. Hi, we're back here at the cubing contest in Cranmer and Victoria. All right.
And this is exactly what's going to be.
Your 5x5 exploded. What's going on there?
Oh, yeah.
I was just chilling with the guys there.
Did that throw you off at all? No. Sarah, were you intimidated by judging Sean's 3x3?
No, honestly, it felt like a joy to be here and judging.
Well,
It
have
was
that
really easy to pick up.
up-hand experience.
If they need a judge, just go in and help out. That's what I recommend. But what I saw with Sean, he kept finishing with like that 45.
Yeah. You had a rule on that? Oh, okay.
He showed us like a total plus 6.
What is it like being, I don't know, is there an intensity with the competitors that when you're judging them at that fast?
You want to make sure they're in the right headspace, and so you don't want to be throwing them off too much with your chit-chatting. So, yeah, I was trying to make sure he was focused.
Just cope with it. Yep. Okay, last. Not the typical annoying 7-year-old.
Yeah, no, they're really nice kids.
Okay, well, thank you, Sarah. Just closing thoughts now. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. No, this is.
Yeah, this is
Huh?
me.
Closing thought.
Bye.
Closing thought.
Bye.
Bye.
Unfortunately, my second round of blind wasn't as good as the first round. I DNF'd my first solve and my second solve. And even though I completed my last solve, the time wasn't going to be good enough to get me into the finals. Only the top 6 times would make it through, and I got 8th place, which to be fair isn't too bad. But then it was time for Brian's second round of 4x4.
A pretty cool thing about these events is the sense of community created over a common interest. We ended up meeting and creating friendships with some pretty cool kids. We ended up doing some team factory solves with them, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
And yeah, as other kids started to see us do this, they started to join in as well. And yeah, it's like as Brian said, there's a real sense of community. We all have the same hobby, which is really cool. And yeah, no one's afraid to kind of step in and, just hang out, share knowledge, I even learned a couple of algorithms from those kids, which is really fun. And now that wholesome segment's over, it's time for the final round of 3x3, which only Brian qualified for out of the two of us.
It is 5:25 or whatever. We're pretty stuffed. Like, I think my brain turned to mush.
Yeah.
At about like
About an hour
4
and a half ago.
o'clock. Yeah, I don't know. So we just got tired. We there was the award ceremony.
Yeah, yeah, we forgot to film it because his head's just so out of it. But yeah, that was good. Of course, Felix won 4x4 and 3x3. Pretty cool. Dude, something that's crazy is third place blind was 1 minute 30 something.
Which is like, he can get
I
that.
can get that. Like,
Yeah.
my best time was 2 minutes, and that was by no means me going fast.
What? I'm out, man.
Yeah, it's great. Like, there's a bunch of people we met off camera as well. Obviously, they don't want to shove cameras in everyone's faces for the vlog, but yeah, met a bunch of really good people. I mean, you saw the videos with the little kids. It's good. It made me feel kind of like a kid again.
All right, cool. That's it.
That's it.
Peace out.
Cubelicious 09
Cubelicious 09 and
Fredorito.
no.
All right. Cubelicious 09 out.